We've all heard of helicopter parents hovering too closely to their child, being over-involved and overprotective. There's growing evidence that this type of parenting created a millennial generation unprepared for life after high school. But how can you avoid running into the same problem? How do we make sure not to overparent our kids while at the same time making sure that we're not neglecting them, which leads to its own set of issues harming their development? One thing that I always cover with parents in my coaching program is the concept of having a clearly defined parenting philosophy to guide your day-to-day parenting practice. I'll share mine with you today because finding that sweet spot between overparenting and underparenting is a key component of my parenting philosophy, and it can help guide you to raising a child who feels loved and supported, but also ready to spread their wings and be independent by age 18. There are 3 parts to my parenting philosophy, and it's the second element that ensures your child is headed on the right trajectory. But the first element lays the strong roots needed for your child's healthy development. To start out, let's be clear that striving to find the right balance between overparenting and underparenting does not mean that you have to withhold any love from your child. I strongly believe that children should feel a sense of unconditional positive regard from their parents, that they can do anything in the world and always not just be loved, but also valued and deemed a worthy member of their family. This concept stems from humanistic psychologist Carl Rogers. Now, what does this actually look like in your day-to-day reality of parenting? We're talking here about subtle wording changes that can go a long way in relaying your unconditional positive regard to your child. For example, imagine saying this to your child: "I won't love you if you keep acting that way." Compared to this: "My love for you is not based on what you do." Here's another example. Imagine saying this to your child: "You should be ashamed of yourself." Compared to this: "We all make mistakes. What can we do differently next time?" Of course, that is the goal and not the constant reality. We all get upset sometimes, we all overreact sometimes, so we say the wrong thing at times. But having this image of loving parenting in my mind always helps me to get back to that behavior as quickly as possible when I encounter obstacles. So that's the first step in my parenting philosophy: love. Now, loving your children does not mean that you should cater to their every request and indulge their every desire, nor does it mean that you should let their bad behavior go unnoticed. We want our kids to become kind, respectful, and compassionate people. And we also want them to become independent and responsible and resilient, so that they're ready for life out there in the real world on their own by age 18. As their parents, we can and should guide our children towards appropriate behavior and independence along their developmental journey. And that's where this tricky concept of overparenting comes into play. How much should we be guiding our children? While showing your child this unconditional positive regard each day, you also want to actively work on molding them into the kind and responsible adults that they'll one day become. But children are a work in progress, so you really must pick and choose your battles, tackling just a few behaviors at a time. Some skills need to be taught later when their brains and their bodies are more fully developed, like driving a car. But we can't wait to teach everything to them in high school, right before they leave home, because they'll be really busy with things like school, sports, dating, taking the SATs, college applications, maybe part-time jobs. The list goes on and on. So this is the balance part of my parenting philosophy, that second step, in which parents value their children and enjoy them at their current developmental stage, but also look towards the future to be sure that they're shaping them into the person that they hope their child will become at various developmental milestones. I like to think about age 5, age 11, 18. It's really key time points, and there are certain things that must be accomplished by those ages to make sure that you're getting your child on the right trajectory. So what we need to do as parents is be aware and be mindful of all of the things that our children need to learn from us before they graduate high school, and really intentionally choose and gradually guide them towards this increased independence and responsibility each year as they age. So just as you looked at your 2-year-old and said, "I think they're ready to potty train now," we need to take stock at age 3, 4, 5, and every year thereafter and say, what are they ready for now? And think through that mental list of what every kid needs to know before heading off to college. And say to yourself, I think they're old enough now to start doing their own laundry. Or I think they're old enough now to start learning how to cook a basic meal. And so, gosh, you might at some point say, it's definitely time that they learn how to clean a bathroom. And this is how we get our kids ready to thrive in early adulthood, so they're not just shocked and bombarded with new experiences while they're also dealing with the transition, that emotional transition of being away from you at whatever their new setting is, whether it's an apartment of their own in the same town, whether it's a college all the way across the country. Who knows what they have in store for them? So we want to make sure that they're ready for that. So we let them be kids and enjoy their youth as much as possible. And we also enjoy them at each of those stages, not feeling like we have to rush them along, but we balance that with knowing where they need to be, and they need to progressively mature on these life skills as they work towards 18 so they can thrive when they do leave home. Now, to be sure that you're spacing out these growth steps and you're not in a mad dash right before they leave for college to get them up to speed, I suggest doing an annual check-in or even a 6-month check-in. January 1st and also at the start of summer break is a great time to think through what chores your child does, what activities they participate in, what life skills do they need to acquire in the coming year. So think for a moment about your child's current age. Are they getting to experience childhood enough, or have they been pushed ahead too soon? Are they on the path to becoming ready for independent living after high school, or do you need to add some more independence and responsibility soon? I'd love to hear from you in the comments about where you think your child stands and any action plans that you have to help get them where they need to be, so that you find that right balance between their phase of life today and anticipating their readiness for life at age 18. Now, finally, I believe that problem-solving strategies are essential to thriving as a parent, and that is the third element in my parenting philosophy. So parenting presents us with constant challenges, both on a small daily scale and on a larger long-term scale. And understanding the problem-solving steps in the solve strategy and the process of creating a behavior change plan can help you to overcome even the trickiest parenting problems. And I'll have a video coming out very soon on that solve strategy. So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to click that subscribe button to hear when it's ready. I'll also link to it here. Using problem-solving skills in your parenting also helps you to avoid feeling frustrated and overwhelmed when presented with parenting challenges. So with the right tools in your parenting toolbox, plus some perseverance and patience, you can help your child through any challenging phase. Rather than getting frustrated and overwhelmed, I like to think of parenting as an exciting challenge and attempt to solve the problems that we encounter together. It's much easier to survive the rough days with that mindset, and that's why problem solving is the third key element in my parenting philosophy. So now you know my love, balance, and problem-solving parenting philosophy, which you can pull from to develop your own clearly defined parenting philosophy to guide your day-to-day parenting practice. Now, if you're wondering, how do you take this overarching concept of a parenting philosophy and turn it into usable strategies that can help guide you through your daily parenting challenges, then I'd love to tell you about my 5 C's parenting framework. It's a 5-step system, and it fits here in the middle between the overarching parenting philosophy, those principles that we just talked about that can guide your parenting practice, and down here with very specific strategies that you can call upon on a day-to-day basis. And really, it acts as this organizational system that identifies the key components of your daily parent-child interactions that really have a meaningful impact on your child's development and your parent-child relationship. And that's what my next video is all about. Keep up the good work on your amazing parenting journey.